Let's see those different tips in action. So last time I showed you we have all of these beautiful settings, but even with the same settings, we can get different results just by switching out the tips. Oops, but I accidentally switched out an entire brush tip, meaning that I've lost all of my settings. That's a bummer. We'll go ahead and continue from there. The way that you keep them while trying different tips is, of course, to simply select a different shape and not an entire tip. I just got excited. Let me go ahead and grab my Wacom pen, and let's just start at the top and work our way down with a few strokes. The reason I'm doing this is in case you don't have a Wacom tablet, I just wanted to show you how they behave dynamically. Here's just our round point. Let me clear that out. You can see that this is great for creating an inking effect. So if you wanted to do some illustrations, this would be a fantastic way to get in there and do exactly that. It's so much fun. Let's go ahead and switch over to the round blunt. You can see immediately a different effect, but what happens if I make these bigger so we can see the individual strokes? Also makes it softer and squishier. Isn't that fun? Now keep in mind, the angle will change the angle of the bristles, somewhat similar to how you can rotate it in the brush pose, but it should in fact be different, where the rotation should be the entire piece. Here we go. In older versions of Photoshop, at least, the angle would change the individual strokes, kind of like having, instead of a big circle, clear that out, a big circle spinning around, the angle would have a bunch of small dots of the bristles. Whoops. Each of those would be spinning around when you change the angle, like that individually, rather than as a cohesive unit. That's how it used to behave. I'm noticing in this version that they seem to be fairly similar, which makes me think that they might have made some changes, but it's hard to find documentation on this, which is why I always encourage experimentation instead, as well as a lot of Googling. Let's go ahead and pick the round curved for just a moment, and you can see this big brush may be a little unwieldy. I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit using the left bracket key. Look at that sweet, sweet brush. And of course, if I had rotation as well, we could do even more with it. Clear that out. Here is the round angle. You can see as I tip my brush differently, more or less of the brush tip touches because of that slice it has out of it. Here we have the round fan. Look at that. Look at all the little hairs you can build up oh so quickly. All that fuzz, that maybe carpeting, that plant life that's out there, all that can be accomplished very easily using a fan brush. Here we have a flat point. Now this will have a slightly different effect, more of a calligraphy. Now again, if I could rotate, I could spin that around in place. But my Wacom is somewhat old these days, meaning I'm missing some of the newer features. But still, I'm grateful for it, and I love the fact that I can use the brushes with it. Keep in mind though, if you don't have one at all, that's fine, because you've always got your brush pose ready to go. And next we have flat blunt. Now, a fun thing to do with these is to really decrease the stiffness and then just watch it go everywhere when you use the mouse. This is one of the times when not having a tablet can be an excellent benefit to your artistic endeavors. Look at it go. That's amazing, isn't it? Just from a mouse. The flat curve. Again with the mouse. Oh, that is delicious. Look at that fly. Here it is with the Wacom pen. A lot more control. The pressure makes it a lot more interesting, especially when I have the stiffness low. However, if I increase the stiffness a lot, I'll see more of the texture of the brush appear, as I do a lighter stroke as compared to a harder one, because as you see in the preview, the tip doesn't go down far enough to distort on the surface that Photoshop is modeling for us inside of its software. Here we have flat angle. Lovely. And here we have flat fan. Now this one is a lot of fun for textures. Look how quickly and easily you're able to make a lot of little strokes. And they have an organic feel to them. That is, they don't look robotic or pre-designed or prefabricated by one of the software engineers, because you're doing it yourself. And what's beautiful about this is you don't have to have additional tools. The mouse works just fine, especially again with a low stiffness. You start to get some amazing effects. Look at that beauty. All right, so those are our different kinds of bristle tips. And that leads us to the next question. What about these other shapes, like the pencil or this little mechanical thing with the push button? Well, those are our rotable tips and airbrushes, and we'll start covering those in the next video.